Hey guys, this is Hemant from Edureka. Welcome to this live session on AWS training. Guys, this is my first time live on YouTube and I'm very excited to be here. Our session today is going to be full on practical, that is, we will learn about a few services from scratch and then use them to build our use case. Alright, so guys, just a quick chat. Can I know the experience that I'm teaching today? Can I know the background from which you guys belong to? Okay, I can see that Nijantan is from network security, Mohammed is from network backup, Ganesh is system admin. All right, Java. All right, guys, quite awesome. So I see people are from mixed background over here. Awesome, guys. So I hope this session is going to be useful for you today. All right, we are basically going to focus on architects. You will learn how to architect solutions in AWS. All right. So all right, guys, enough talk. Let's go ahead and discuss what is our agenda for today. We will start with a problem statement, that is our use case, and move on to discuss its architecture. Once we are clear with the architecture, we will see how we can fit AWS into it and discuss the services that we'll be using with it. And then we will start with the hands-on. Okay guys, so this is our agenda. I hope it's clear to you guys. So let's move on to the problem statement now and see what we are going to architect today. Alright guys, so this is our problem statement. Basically we will be making an e-commerce website in which you'll be entering your name, your email address, your location, and then you'll be selecting a product which you wish to buy, and then you'll be clicking on submit. When you click on submit, you'll be getting a confirmation email on the email that you specified, alright? And hence we will move forward and understand how we can architect this website. All right, let me quickly show you the website that we have created and we have deployed on AWS as of now. All right, guys, so this is the website that I'm talking about. This is the website that we have created. All right, you can enter your name, your email address, your location here. Now the selection of the course that you want to buy and click on submit. Once you click on submit, you will get a confirmation mail on your whatever email you have specified here, and that is it, guys. Okay guys, I feel you guys won't be seeing the website. Can you see it now? Alright, so guys, this is the website that I'm talking about. You have to enter your name, your email address here, then your location. Then you will be selecting the courses from here and then clicking on submit. Once you click on submit, you'll be getting an email confirmation on that. Alright, and hence we'll be taking this forward. Alright, so what I want to do, what I expect you guys to do right now is go to www.edureka.ml. It will be mentioned in your comment box. My team will be giving it to you. And once you do that, enter your details and click on submit. Alright, so let me do it for you as of now. I'll click on name, enter Hemant. I'll enter my email ID, that is hemant@edureka.co. Right, I'll enter the location as Bangalore. Select a course which is DevOps and click on submit. Alright, so it says your order has been successfully placed. Now this is the confirmation page, guys. If I refresh it, I can see, okay, so a lot of you people have entered. Awesome, guys. Okay, So keep entering, guys, while I come back to my slide. All right. So just think, guys, how has this site been architectured? What are the resources which we might have installed in this website, right? If you see the problem statement, you might be thinking, or when you have used the website, you might be thinking it's a very simple website, there's nothing in it. But when you actually imagine what kind of architecture is behind it, you will get to know that there are a lot of things that you have to consider. All right, so let me move on to the architecture so that you guys understand what is actually behind this website. So guys, our website is basically interacting with three resources, all right? Our website is first interacting with the database, is then interacting with a queue, it is also interacting with a backend server, all right? How? Let me explain you. So the database is basically used to enter your details, right? Like your name, your email address, your location, etc. Right? Then we have the queue. So queue basically acts as an external memory to stateless systems, right? So our backend server, which I'll be explaining in a few minutes, is basically a stateless system. It doesn't have a memory of its own, right? So it has to rely on a queue to get its jobs. So what are the jobs here? The jobs are basically to send the emails, right? So whatever email that you have mentioned in your text box over there, that email will be sent to the queue, right? And then backend server will fetch those emails one by one and will be sending you the respective emails. Right? So queue, like I said, it acts as an external memory. Backend server fetches from the external memory and executes its job. Now, what the backend server will do is it will forward this request. It will assemble the email and forward this request to the email server, and the email server will hence deploy the emails to you. Right, guys? So this is the architecture. Are we clear about this architecture, guys? Any doubts in this architecture? Moving forward, I'll be telling you guys how to replace these resources. That is, how to replace the database with the AWS service. Which AWS service is equivalent to a database, or which database service is equivalent to a queue? Which AWS service is equivalent to a backend server, right? Okay, so I can see that Akleon is saying he's clear. Others, guys, let's make this session as interactive as possible because it will be in the benefit of both of us, right? Okay, so Niranjan says it's perfect. Santosh says he's clear. All right, guys, since most of you are clear, let's move ahead. So now what I'll be doing is I'll be telling you guys which AWS services to substitute for these particular resources that we have mentioned. All right. So for the website, we'll be using two AWS services, that is Elastic Beanstalk and Route 53. Right? So first of all, when we talk about hosting a website, so you need a server to host, right? So that server is basically Elastic Beanstalk. The other thing is you have to get the URL. You have to link the URL to your website. When you host a website, you basically get an IP address of that server. But how will you link that URL that you purchased or that you registered for with your IP address? So that is done using Route 53. Okay, so our database is basically RDS. So RDS is a database management service. It's not a database, guys. It's a database management service. Now, what is the difference? That it manages these databases for you. There are a few databases that RDS supports. It manages the databases for you. I'll be explaining you in detail in the next slide. All right. For now, just keep calm. Let's move on to the next resource, that is queue. So for queue, we are using SQS. So SQS is a service which offers the service of a queue from AWS. So you have the option of FIFO, that is first in first out in this, and you have the option of a standard queue. All right. So based on your preference, you can choose a queue. Then we have the email servers. So for email server, we have the SES service from AWS, which we'll be using. Then we have backend server. For backend servers, we are using AWS Lambda. So now let's understand what each of these services are all about. All right. Moving ahead, let's discuss these services in detail. Okay, so first let's discuss about Elastic Beanstalk. So in compute, when you look at the compute section of AWS, there are basically three kinds of services. You have EC2, you have Elastic Beanstalk, and then you have Lambda. All right, so EC2 is basically the most basic service in your compute section. So EC2 is just like a server that you have bought on your own. When you launch an EC2 instance in AWS, they provide you with an IP address and they provide you with a password. So you can remote desktop connection to that EC2 and you can view the screen and you can do anything you want with that server as if it was your own computer. You can install any kind of softwares, you can build a worker tier environment, you can build a web server, you can make it as a background processing task server, anything, all right? But when we talk about Elastic Beanstalk or when we talk about Lambda, what Elastic Beanstalk is it's actually an automated version of EC2. All right. So if you were to host, say, a PHP website on EC2, you would have to install a lot of things. You'd have to install a PHP file. You would have to configure the firewall so that a lot of connections can come to your servers and everything, right? But the thing with Elastic Beanstalk is you don't have to configure anything. You just have to specify that I need a PHP website. All right. Click on create and it will create the environment for you, and all you have to do is upload your code, nothing else. I will show you how it is. All right. Then we have Lambda. So let's discuss Lambda later. Let me show you guys how you can actually deploy Elastic Beanstalk on AWS. So give me a minute. Let me go back to my AWS console. All right, guys. So this is how your AWS console looks like. I have to deploy an Elastic Beanstalk environment. So I'll click on Elastic Beanstalk. All right, so I've already deployed one service. So this is where my website right now is hosted. All right, so let me create one more application. So for that, you will click on create new application. You'll come here, you have to name the application now. So you'll name it as, say, Edureka -001. All right, you'll click on next. And now you have to choose between web server environment or worker environment. So I'll select web server environment because I have to host a website, right? So I click on web server. Now this is the part that I was saying, that you have to select a platform or a language in which your website will be created. All right, so you have these many options here. My website is created in PHP, so I'll select PHP over here. Right? And then there's an option for load balancing, auto scaling, or single instance. So single instance is when you have a very limited kind of workload. You don't want 2 or 3 servers to support your website. But when you are in the production environment, basically you can't predict what kind of traffic will be coming onto your site, right? So say you have 2 servers running right now who can support only 40 users. And tomorrow, say 70 users come up. So you have to manually go and deploy one more server. But when you opt for load balancing and auto scaling, what happens is that it automatically sees the needs of your website. If your website is going slow, it automatically deploys one more server, so that the website is now running in 3 servers. All right. So load balancer, on the other hand, it is used to equally distribute your traffic among the equal number of servers that you have launched. Say there were 2 servers before, so your traffic was distributed among 2 servers. But now when you have 3 servers, so what load balancer will do is it will distribute the traffic among 3 servers. All right. So this is about load balancing and auto scaling. Moving on, guys. So we selected PHP and load balancing here. We'll click on next now. And now you have to upload your code, but for the sake of simplicity, let's not upload our code right now. I'll upload it later so that you can understand how you can upload your code or how you can version update your website. All right. So for now, we'll be clicking on sample application. We'll be going down. We'll see the deployment preferences. So don't worry about this, guys. Just leave it at default and click on next. All right. Now it is asking us to specify a URL. All right, so URL has to be unique, right? So you have to check the availability for the URL. You'll click on check availability. So it is available, right? We'll click on next. And now it is asking us whether we want to create a RDS-DB instance and a VPC. So I don't need an RDS instance. I will be doing that separately. What I can do is I can create this particular application inside a VPC. Why inside a VPC? VPC is basically a virtual private cloud, all right? It's a virtual network. Now, why are we creating it inside a virtual network is because, say I'll be deploying an RDS server that is a database server as well, right? So if both of them are inside the same network, it becomes easier for them to talk. Otherwise, you have to do a lot of configuration. right? So that's why I'll be including this inside a VPC and clicking on next. All right, so now it is asking me the instance type. So instance type is basically the configuration that you want for your server. All right, so you can see there are a lot of configurations available, right? So we'll be selecting the t1.micro configuration, which is the least of them all. You can, if you have a website, you have a prod environment website, which will be dealing with a lot of users, you can go ahead and choose a better configuration. But since ours is a demo, we have chosen t1.micro. All right, then we have, you don't have to fill all of this, guys, just ignore this and leave everything at default. The only thing to matter here is one is the EC2 key pair in case you want to SSH into your Elastic Beanstalk, but that won't be required because everything is automatic. All right, so just select your instance type and click on next. All right, environment tags, guys, leave it at default. Nothing needs to be added here. Click on next. And now this is the thing that you have to focus on, guys. So over here, you have to notice that what is the security group in which your Elastic Beanstalk is being deployed. So it's SG024, all right? So when you'll be creating your RDS instance, you have to mention this security group so that the RDS instance can interact with the Elastic Beanstalk, all right? So as of now, let me copy this. It's SG024. So let me write it here. It's SG-024 and we are set. All right. Excuse me. Yeah. So now I'll be clicking on next while I have to check all of these. All right. Okay. Let's click on next now. And now permissions, leave it at default. Click on next. And this is it, guys. Now this is the review page. You'll be reviewing all your settings over here. All right, review all the settings and click on launch. All right, so while my website is while my Elastic Beanstalk is being ready, let us go back to our slide and discuss the next service. All right, so the next service is AWS Lambda. So like I told you guys, it is again an automated version of EC2. But the difference, what will be the difference between Elastic Beanstalk? You may ask me that Elastic Beanstalk was also an automated version, right? So why aren't we not using Elastic Beanstalk again for the background tasks? So the thing is that Elastic Beanstalk can only be used to deploy an application or host a website, right? It cannot be used to do background tasks. As in the case with Lambda, it cannot be used to deploy a website, right? It can only be used to do background tasks. And this is the main difference between the two. So you have to identify what is your use case, what you are trying to do, and then you choose a service. And this is what an architect's job is all about, guys. You should know all the services, and based on your use case, you should choose the best service. All right, so since ours is a background task, we have to send emails, right? So it's better to do it on a separate server so that the latency is less, and that's why we're doing it on Lambda. All right, so how do you create Lambda is something like this. So one way of doing it is actually going to your console and deploying it and uploading your code. But there's a hack, there's a better way of doing it. What you can do is you can install Eclipse Kepler, all right? When you do that, once you do that, you have to include an SDK in it, which is called the AWS SDK. So how you can install is, this is the this is your Eclipse, right? So you'll go to help, you'll click on install new software, and over here you will type in AWS, right? So you have to type in aws.amazon.com/eclipse, and it'll load all these tools for you. Select all these tools and click on finish, and it will install the SDK automatically. Now why did I do it? Why is it easy? Is because of this. So when you'll be, this is my project, guys. This is the code of my Lambda. My Lambda is basically fetching the details from the queue, right? So let me show you. All right, yeah, here it is. So this is the URL for my queue, guys. All right, so it fetches from this particular queue, and then it starts assembling the email, right? Once it assembles the email, in the end, it sends the email. So don't worry, this code will be available for you. All right, so for now, let me tell you how to deploy this code on Lambda, right? So this is my project, guys. It's called live. I'll right click on this project, and I'll go to this icon which says Amazon Web Services. All right, I'll go here. I'll click on upload function to AWS Lambda. And once I do that, it'll show me this window, right? And over here, I have to select which Lambda function I want to deploy it to, right? If you want to create a new Lambda function, you can create a new Lambda function. I have like 2 functions defined right now. My function is empty. I can deploy it here. You can deploy it anywhere, right? So my primary Lambda function is hello123. This is where my website is functioning as of now, and my function is empty. All right, so once you click here, like I'll upload it to my function, click on next, and then you will see this window wherein it'll dump your code onto S3 bucket. All right, so S3 is nothing but a file system on AWS. So what it'll do is it'll copy the code from whatever code is available in your clips and save it over there. All right, so you can choose the bucket from here and the handler, whatever handler you want. So you can check the code, guys. I have commented everything. If you have doubts, this video will be as a recording on our YouTube channel. You can comment in and we will be happy to serve your requests. All right, and once you click on finish, it will upload your code to the AWS Lambda. All right, guys, so let me come back to my slide. This was about Lambda. Next is the RDS service. So RDS service, like I told previously, it's a database management service, right? It's not a database. So what happens in RDS is you have quite a few databases. You have MySQL, you have MongoDB, etc., right? So you select the database you want, you configure, you choose the server configuration as you desire, but and you deploy it, right? But what is the difference between a normal database server and RDS is that with RDS, it automates the tasks that were done manually before, like for example, applying the security patches to your database, right? Or doing something else. Everything is automated, or upgrading your particular database instance. So say it was 5.6 before and now 5.7 has been there. You can upgrade your database automatically. There's an option in RDS to do that, all right? So this is how RDS is important. Let me show you how you can deploy RDS in AWS. So you will go to your management console, all right? So we'll go to RDS. Here we have the DB instances, so you'll click here. You'll click on Launch DB Instance. You'll select what database you want. So for example, I chose MySQL, which is the simplest of them all, and then I clicked Select. Now then you'll have an option between production or dev environment. So I chose the test environment because mine is a demo. I don't need that much power in my server. I'll click on next step. All right, and then I can choose the DB engine version over here. It's 5.6, which is okay for me. The DB instance class, so this is basically the configuration that you want for your server. So mine is, like I said, a demo, so I'll choose the minimum one, right? And then the multi-AZ deployment. So multi-AZ deployment is basically when you want to deploy your servers in different regions, all right? In the sense, if you say my server is right now in North Virginia, say suppose, all right, and I want my server to be deployed in some other region as well, because there has to be a disaster recovery standby. So for that particular reason, we have this option, but since, like I said, it's a demo, I'll choose no. And then this is the main thing, guys. So we will identify it as, say, demo 1. Master username for your database, it could be Edureka. Password, I'll give in. So this password is basically something that you have to specify when you're trying to connect to your database. So this is it. We'll click on next step. And we'll create a new security group. And then the database name, you can also put in the database name here. So say you don't want to go there and type in the create database command, you can do it from here. And I think that is it, guys. Nothing else to be configured. We'll click on launch DB instance. And this is it, guys. So now my database will take some time to deploy. Let us give it that time. And let me show you this MySQL, right? So this is the instance which is running right now, which is actually hosting the data which you guys are entering here, all right? So whatever data I can see here, it is actually being sent by you. So I can see quite a few of you have entered it. thanks for your response. All of that is stored in this particular database. All right. So while this database is being created, let us go back to a slide and understand the other services. So we are done with RDS. Let's go on to SQS. So SQS, like I told you guys, it's a queuing service by Amazon, right? You use it as an external memory to your backend server. My backend server is Lambda. So what my Lambda will be doing is it will be fetching emails from somewhere, right? And that is what SQS is all about. Now, let's go ahead and see how we can deploy a queuing service in AWS. All right, I'll type in AWS here, SQS, one sec, SQS, and click here. All right, so this is the queuing service. And I have configured it to basically get all the emails that are available. So as you can see, there is one message available that is still to be processed by Lambda. So it processes messages one by one and sends you the email. So guys, all of you got those emails, right? Can you please confirm on the chat box that you got the emails in your respective email IDs? All right. So, like I said, okay, I'm waiting for your reply, guys. Please reply. So, like I said, so this queue is basically used to get all your email IDs, right? And this is the URL for that queue. So this URL has to be specified in your code. So if you can see in the Eclipse IDE, I have mentioned this particular URL. Let me show you. So here it is. So it says live DEMP, and if you go here, it says live DEMP, and the queue is 245376966, 245376966. So it's the same URL. So this is the URL that this is the queue that I'm sending my messages to, right? And it's basically pretty simple. You click on create new queue, and like I said, there are two options. You have a standard queue, and then you have the FIFO queue. If your requirement is to get the first messages first, you can select FIFO queue, but mine is not. So I'll click on standard queue, and once I do that, I'll have to give a name first. So let me give a name, say Edureka-01. Right? I click on quick create queue, and this is it, guys. It's already done. It's there. Right, so it's pretty fast. It's very very elegant, and you can use it. It's very useful as well. All right. So this was about SQS. The next service is SES. So SES, like I told you guys, it's an email server. So the email that you guys are getting in your Gmail, that is from your SES. Now this is a very cool service that I find that. I specified my email address here and you got the email, but did you guys notice that there was a different domain? It was not our usual domain. Our usual domain is edureka.co, but the mail that you guys got was edureka.ml. All right, so that domain is actually not a real domain. It was a domain that I just registered on a free domain site. All right, so all of that has to be configured, and mind you guys, if you reply to that email, you will get a secondary email that all of the process is automated. So you'll get a secondary email which has been replied from a different address, right? So you can do all of those cool things with SES. Let me show you how. So I'll go back to my management console. So this is SES. So first you have to verify a domain. All right. So if you guys noticed, the domain from which I sent you was edureka.ml. All right. So I have verified that domain here. How can you do that? I'll be explaining you in a little while. All right. So you'll be registering the domain here, and then you will go to rule sets. In rule sets, I will be specifying a rule that whenever somebody replies to that email, I will be replying back as 550. The error code will be 550, right? So 550 means basically your message was not delivered to your particular mailbox, right? And I can type in a custom reply over here, All right. So let me show you how it is done. So this is the email that I got, guys, right? So now what I'll do is I'll click on reply, and I'll reply something like, hey. All right. So when I do that, I get a message back from a different email address. So this is my email address, guys. This is hemant@edureka.co, right? And the email address that I was receiving from before was hello@edureka.ml, right? So let me see this message. Let me show you guys what it tells. It says that the message could not be delivered. And this is the reply that I wrote over there, right? Please reply to the following address, which is hemant@edureka.co, or you can reply directly as well now, because the sendee has changed. The sendee has been changed from hello@edureka.ml to hemant@edureka.co. All right. So this is a very cool thing that you can do with SES. So these are the rule sets. This is how you specify a rule set. And obviously first you have to register a domain. Now how you can register a domain is like this. So I got my domain from over here, guys. So this is a website which is called freenom.com. All right, you can get a free domain registry from here, and you can use it for free for like 3 months. All right, so I registered a domain called edureka.ml. All right, I can go to services. I'll go to my domains. So here it is, edureka.ml. All right, so I'll go to manage domain, and I'll go to management tools, name servers. So over here I've specified 4 servers that I'll be using. All right, so where did I get these 4 servers from? All right, so that brings us to our next service, which is Route 53. So Route 53, like I told you guys, it's a DNS server. It is used to route traffic to different instances, right? So it is, if you type in edureka.ml in your browser, you are redirected to my instance in Elastic Beanstalk. But if you mail to edureka.ml, you are redirected to my mailbox, right? So all of those settings can be done in Route 53. Let's understand how. So let me go back to my AWS console. So these are the servers that we have to enter, and we'll enter it in this fashion. So we'll go to our AWS management console. I'll go to Route 53. All right. This is my Route 53 now. I'll go to hosted zones, and here it is. So my edureka. So you'll click on create hosted zone. Okay, let me show you first how to create one. You'll click on create hosted zones and say I create a hosted zone called edureka.ga. All right, I'll click on create. All right, so these are the name servers that I got right now. All right, so these name servers have to be copied and pasted here in your client from which you're getting the domain name. All right, so when you enter the name servers here and when you save it, this domain name will now point to Route 53. Now from Route 53, you have to point it to your Elastic Beanstalk or your email server, right? So how you will do that, let me tell you now. So first I'll click on verify a new domain. So let me enter the domain as edureka.ck, which is not domain, I'm just telling you how to do it, right? I'll click on verify this domain. And then it will give me 2 records. So one will be the txt record and one will be the mx record. Now these records now have to be added in your Route 53. All right. So I'll go to Route 53. I'll click on create record set. All right. And then as you can see, the type is txt. So I'll select the type here as txt. And then I will enter the value over here. The value can be copied from here. This is the value, guys. You'll copy the value from here, paste it here, copy the name from here, paste it here, and that is it. You'll click on create. So your txt record is done, and similarly you'll be doing your mx record as well. So once you've entered both these records and you have clicked on close, this pending verification notification will change to verified. All right, so edureka.ck, edureka.ga, all of this will change to your verified domain message. All right. So this is how you do it. Now your Route 53, it will identify what kind of traffic is coming on to me. If it sees that it's a mail kind of traffic, it will point it to your mailbox. That is your SES. If it sees if it's a website kind of traffic, it will point it to your instance. Now let me go back and let me show you the Elastic Beanstalk thing, right? So SES is done, guys, and there's nothing much to configure now. I'll go to my Elastic Beanstalk. All right. So this is the server that we deployed. So as you can see, it's a green tick over here now, right? If I click on the URL, it will point you to the website that is currently deployed, right? So this is the sample application by your AWS. Now I want that I should deploy my website, my own website that I have deployed on the other Elastic Beanstalk instance. So what I'll do is I'll click on upload and deploy, right? I'll choose a file, and the file is this, AWS. So what you have to do is whatever code that you'll be whatever code that is there for your website, you'll have to select all of your files and your folders. You'll have to zip it, and then you have to upload that particular zip over here, right? So the zip has to be in .zip, that zip format. It cannot take RAR format, it cannot take any other format, but only zip format. All right, so what I've done is I've selected all the files, I've right clicked here, and I have compressed it. All right, so I'll be selecting this file now, and I'll click on open, right? And I'll specify a version number so that it doesn't clash, and click on deploy. So it will take some time to deploy. Let's give it that time. All right. Let me show you the RDS instance. So RDS, there are some settings that you have to do in your RDS instance. The security groups thing that I was telling you about. So let's go to RDS. All right. Okay. So this is demo 1 is the instance that I've just launched. All right, so we'll go here, we'll click on that particular instance, we'll click on tags. All right, now this is the security group that we'll be configuring. We'll be clicking here. Okay, now I'll be clicking on inbound connections. So as you can see, there are no inbound connections, only my IP address is configured over here. So I'll be adding one more IP or one more connection over here, which is that of my Elastic Beanstalk. All right. So how will I do that? I'll click on edit. Now I will add a rule. Right. So I will go here and select MySQL Aurora. All right. And then I have to mention the security group. So like I said, we have to remember the initials of a security group. So it's SG-024. So we'll go here, we'll enter SG-024. Here it is. This is the security group of my Elastic Beanstalk. I'll click this, I'll click on save. And now my Elastic Beanstalk can interact with this particular RDS instance. All right. This is it, guys. Let's see if our Elastic Beanstalk is deployed. It is still deploying. All right, it's done. So I'll click on the URL now. So this is the URL that has been provided by Elastic Beanstalk. All right. So I'll click on this URL. And as you can see, this website has been successfully been deployed on this instance. All right. Now, this is the URL that is by default given by AWS. But like I said, if you want this kind of URL, right, you have to register a new domain, which can be done from here, right? You can register a new domain here for the demo purpose, right? And then you can go to Route 53 configure. Let me show you how you can connect your Route 53. So we'll go to Route 53. Right, so I told you guys how you can connect your email to your Route 53. But let me show you how you can connect your instance now. So the way you connect your instance is like this. You will create a record set. All right. Now this is the email address that you have registered. Okay. So I've not registered it yet, so I'll not be entering anything here. So when you are say deploying a server from which you have an elastic IP address, from which you have an IP address, right? In that case, you'll be specifying the IP address over here. But if you have deployed your instance on Elastic Beanstalk, in that case, you'll click on alias, right? You go here and your Elastic Beanstalk instance will be mentioned over here, right? So you will click on that and you will click on create. All right. So now your instance is connected to your edureka.ga record in Route 53, and Route 53's record you have already mentioned in your domain names website, which is handling that domain name, and you have mentioned the name servers over there. So your website will be redirected from there to Route 53, and by Route 53 it will first understand what kind of traffic it is, right? So it will see if it's a website traffic, it will redirect it to the instance. If it's an email traffic, it will redirect to the email. All right. So guys, this is it. This is about, I think we have covered all the services. We are done with Route 53. We are done with SES. We are done with SQS. We are done with RDS. We're done with Lambda, and we're done with Elastic Beanstalk. All right. So this is how you configure when you want to host your own website. And if you guys want to try, I will be sharing the code with you guys. You can mention your email address in the comment section, and the code will be shared with you. All right. So guys, any queries that you have, my team is there to answer your queries. You can mention it in the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer you. All right. So are there any doubts that you guys want to ask? You can ask it here. All right, guys. So let us wrap this up. You can mention this website. This session will be live for say the next 5 minutes. You can mention all your queries over there, and we'll be answering it. So thank you guys for attending today's session. I hope you learned something new today. All right. Like I said, you mention your email address, and we'll share the code with you. All right. Having said that, I hope you have liked the way we teach in Edureka. And with that, let me show you the CLP for the landing page from Amazon. So we offer our AWS courses. There are quite a few courses, quite a few timings for our courses. We offer courses in weekends, and we offer courses in weekdays as well. All right, you can choose the time according to your comfort and go ahead. For all the course details, you can go here in the course description page and can understand what all is there in AWS. We also have a blog section on AWS. You can see all the blogs here that we have mentioned on AWS if you want to learn more. All right. So guys, on that note, I'll take a leave from you guys. Have a good day ahead. Goodbye.